What's up, everybody? It's the spiritual light passing through Miss Pat, and I'm back with another video. I wanted to make this video for people who are finding their way into this walk, and I wanted to let you know my story of how I found my way into this walk. Back in, I'd say early 2000s, I was going through another heartbreak, y'all, and didn't I didn't know any of this, okay? But I ended up having some type of dream. And this particular dream happened to me between that area of twilight and awake. And now, if you don't know what twilight means, that's that area where you like half sleep and half awake. It's called twilight. And in this dream, there was a man that came and said something to me in the dream. He says, hey, Pat, what do you want to dream about today? Because I would always say I didn't want to have bad dreams because I was constantly getting attacked in my dreams. So I would always say, please don't let me have bad dreams. And in the midst of my prayers before I went to sleep or before I took a nap, okay? And this voice, really sweet voice. I'll never forget, it made me feel a certain type of way when I heard him speak to me. And it was a male's voice. And he said, what do you want to dream about today, Pat? And I was like, and I didn't say anything. And then all of a sudden I see my hand go up, and I saw this writing in my hand, and it was this beautiful thing that was in my hand. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And it was writing up and down my fingers, okay? And then there was a circle in my hand that had symbols in it, but it was inside the circle. And then there was a pyramid on my wrist that was encircled, I had like wings, like Egyptian wings around it. And I didn't understand. And I was like, what is this? And it looked like a tattoo. And as you can see, I'm a tattoo person. So I was intrigued by this because this thing was so beautiful. It's like it was black ink, but it had this gold outline going on with it. And it was just really weird. It's like three or fourth dimensional because it just did things when I moved my hand. And I saw it, I'm like, this is dope. This is the dopest tattoo I'd ever seen in my life. Okay, y'all? And the man's voice said, this is your name, this is your station, and this is your gate. And I was like, okay, so the writing that I saw looked the closest that I could figure out after I came out of the dream and found out what this meant is that the closest I could come to as far as the writing was concerned was celestial or either angelic script. But it was even more elaborate and more classier than that from what I found on the internet. The circle thing looked similar to the names of how they have all of the seven archangels, but mine was different. And then the pyramid was a pyramid, but it looked as though it had like Mayat, I think that's what her name is, up underneath it like that. And I didn't know what any of this meant. And I came up out of the dream. I was looking on the internet to find out what this meant. I went and asked my mom. I went and asked all different types of spiritual people. I went to the church. That's when they told me I had this is demon stuff and whatever. No, the writing up and down the fingers and stuff like that. Another language. It was really bad. And this bothered me for years. Now, mind you, this is happening to me maybe 2001 or either 1998, 99, somewhere in that area, okay? All this time, this is sitting in my brain, don't know what's going on. Fast forward to last year. I had bought all the books of remembrance, and the Enoch was great. The grandmothers was awesome. And I kept on hesitating on the book of remembrance of Melchizedek, and I didn't understand why. I think it was because I had such negative feelings about certain people I was watching on YouTube that I was like, I don't want nothing to do with the Melchizedek thing. I don't even want to know what it's about because they in it. I don't want to know what about it. Okay, so I was kind of sitting on on the fence about it. And then when the book came, it said, oh, the Little Book of John was in it. Okay, I'm like, I wanted to see that book. I'm like, so this is excellent. I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and read the book now. Because it had something in it that I was looking for, just the Little Book of John, but the Little Book of John was included in it. So I'm like, yes. So I started to read this thing. And as I'm reading this thing, I come across something that blows my mind. So in the first beginning of the book, I see this. And I'm looking at this and it don't hit my mind at all. Okay, you see this down here? Okay? What did that look like to you? Okay? It didn't hit my mind what I was looking at until something said, why does that look so familiar? Why does that look so familiar? And then it went boom. Your dream from back in earlier 2000, late 1990, da da da. And then I'm looking at what it's saying, and it says, in the hands, service to Anunnaki seed, sanctity of marriage on the fingers, agency, gift of life. I'm like, okay, let's go find out what this means. Now, mind you, on the front of this book, this is there. It never once occurred to me that these symbols was on here. Okay? Now, that's the first one that made me sit down and go, okay, Abdullah Seer introduced this book. Now, this is a dream I've been having, thorn in my brain for I don't know how long. Now I'm seeing what this is happening. I'm like, it's writing in the fingers. There's the little circle there, but this is like a child's crude version of this. What I saw was way more elaborate, baby. Way more elaborate, okay? That's like a baby saying, I drew a little tiny Cadillac on a piece of paper with little wheels and a little car, and he said, this is Daddy's Cadillac, and then you go outside and look at Daddy's Cadillac, and Daddy's Cadillac is cold. You understand? This is the same equivalent as this little hand being written like a child, but what I saw was Daddy's Cadillac, okay? Now, as I'm reading this book, I find out that this is a covenant mark that I made before I came here. And I'm sitting up here like, okay. Whoa. Now I must be on the right track because these are things that's been bothering me and no one had any answers for me in the regular church. But now this book that Abdullah Seer introduced to introduced to me has solved a dream that I could never in a million years figured out. Now, not only is it solving a dream, I kept on asking people inside the church, what does stations mean? What does gates mean? You understand? Station. There was stations that Melchizedek, which is Shem, had a station inside of heaven, okay? And so did his wife, Jara. You understand? And their story just captivated me. I was so in love with their story because Jara was a woman just like me. You know what I'm saying? Shem was a woman just like me. Very down to earth, very no nonsense type chick. I was like, I really identified with her, and their wedding was so crazy with all the Ekadashi, and I was just in love with their whole entire story. Their whole entire story in that book was amazing to me, and I identified with it. But they also had a son inside of this, and there was not a lot of, all the people were leaving and things like that before, and with Noah and all that other stuff and going in different directions, and it wasn't very many people left to harvest the food in the area where Shem and Noah and all of them were, and he had a son by the name of Patricia. And Patricia's name meant to be redeemed at harvest. Now my name is Patricia. So when I saw this and I'm reading this, I threw this damn book right here across the room. I said, I'm done. I'm done. What is going on here? What is happening right now to me? I threw the book across the room, went outside. I'm like, this is a hell of a time for me to stop smoking. I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, now, I find out what this elaborate markings in my hand is supposed to be. Then I find out that this book just say straight out to me, Patricia, you're going to be redeemed in harvest. Your name literally means redeemed in harvest. In fact, my name in English means noble woman. My middle name means of the garden. Mm-hmm. I was through. I was like, okay, all right. I guess Big Judah and them on to something. Okay, let's see how far this is going to go. Then as I keep going and I get into the Zohar, then I find out all of these gates. There's gates. I have a marking on my arm that's supposed to mean a certain type of gate. Mind you, this is on my left hand. And I'm just like, okay, so the left, I'm like, this is the left hand. I'm like, I started really getting real weird because I'm like, the left hand is supposed to be bad people and evil and stuff. I don't understand what's going on here. And it took something said, you goofy girl, this has nothing to do with that. But you do have a job to do. And that job is going to eventually bring itself out. Now, later on, after all of this has revealed itself, and I didn't read no more for a minute. I had to take a break from these books. I had to sit back and revamp and put myself back together again because I'm like, I'm not understanding what's talking to me right now. What is this saying? What am I supposed to be doing? These people are married. I'm single. You know what I'm saying? I don't even fit inside of this. So what you trying to say? And during my time that I was doing my purification and stuff like that, as far as to see whether or not if I had a specific job that the Most High was calling me to do, this is a part of my purification. So I'm sitting up here. I had a dream that I actually met Michael. Now Michael in the dream, big dude, no nonsense dude. He don't play that. He got that look of the general, like, I will beat your ass. Look, you understand? And I loved it. I was like, this is Michael. And I was like, I don't care. I was like, literally, I'm sitting up here saying, I know who you are in this dream. And I was like, I don't care if all you want me to do is clean the armor for all the angels in heaven. I don't care. Just as long as I get to hang out and watch you do you. And he was like, I really don't like people to worship me. I said, I'm not worshiping you. Don't get it twisted. I'm like, I just really admire you. He said, I know you admire me, little sister. He says, but I said, I just want to work on your squad. That's all I want to do. This would be like the total dream job for me. And he just looking at me like, he just smiling, looking at me just like a big brother would look at a little sister. And it was funny. But he entertained me. He said, you know what? I'll tell you what I'll think about it. But you must study. And I'm sitting up here like, okay, I'll study hard as I possibly can just so I can just hang out. I just want to be on your squad. That's it. Let me be on your squad. He's like, and he walked away and left me alone, okay? Now, another dream happens, and I'm dressed kind of very feminine, you know what I'm saying? Not like how I am here, very feminine, very flowy dress. And I go through these big doors, and in this room, these big, tall guys are in here. And I'm like, whoa. And they all inside this armor, this iridescent gold, pretty armor. It's just like, I know if the sun hits, it's like, boom, they gonna gleam like sunbeams. You know what I'm saying? And I'm standing here and I'm short. So I'm looking through and I see this guy sitting on a it's not really a throne, but you could tell it's a seat for an important person. And he got a, nice fro and everything. And he got the same outfit on as everybody else, but he don't have the armor on. So he looks really, really nice. And I was like, wow, his hair looks so moisturized. Like, I need to get whatever he's using in his hair. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, I'm looking at him and he's like, it's imperative that I return right now, at this time back to Earth. And they were like, everybody's all in agreement. I'm like, return back. And then I happen to see him as he's talking, and I see this wound right here. It's like a round, it's like a bad scar, but they're in both of his hands. And I was like, is that Yahshua? And he looked at me dead at me in my face. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? And he looked at me and he gave me a little smirk and went back to talking. And then I looked to my left and I looked to my right. And I'm seeing these guys, they all look like real important, you know, like they're all having this big meeting. It's a lot of them. And then I look down at myself and I'm in armor too, just like they are. And when I look down at myself, I look back up at him. He looking me dead in my face with a smile. And I was like, I said, is he returning now? And a voice from behind me, and I knew who it was. Because I done snuck in someplace I ain't supposed to be. It was Michael, and I heard him say, we're already here. And I was like, and I came up out of my dream. So it was one of those things that out of all of these books, as I've been reading them, many things have been revealed to me through my different dreams, okay? That I'm in the right spot. For the longest, I could not understand what was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? People accusing me of being a witch. People accusing me of, oh, yeah, you're dealing with spirits and all this other bullshit. And then come to find out of this one book here, that you got a part to play. In the story, I don't know the plot to it all. You know what I'm saying? But clearly, he wanted me to know, since I was looking for answers. He finally answered this question for me, 20 years later? You understand what I'm saying? 20 years later, look at this. A dream that I had long ago, answered by one of those books. So I'm not big on people putting down books and things like that, or the people who have them. Whatever's going on with them folks, you know what I'm saying, who have those records, I really wish they would release them to the people that need them, because I can't be the only person who had dreams that signified certain things like that. And then all of a sudden, that shows up and tells me exactly what the hell I was looking at, because there was nobody in this world back in 2000s, early 2000s, late 2090s or whatever, that could tell me what was happening to me. Okay, because I was getting hit constantly back then and I didn't understand why. And now all of a sudden, all of these dreams that I have are now being answered by things like the Zohar and the I think the Auspice book and things like that, because and the Nag Hammadi. I can't explain to you guys how much this entire adventure has been for me. Okay, there's something I'm supposed to do, and there's a reason why I'm the way that I'm at, because Jara, Michael's wife inside that book, was me all day. Okay, and I love their relationship. I love that he let her be her, and they both were just like, you know, when one stepped back, the other one, you know, came up forward, and she was just as strong and just as, you know what I'm saying, direct as he was. It was like watching, you know, it was like watching a two-pronged type situation of the most perfect power couple that could have possibly ever lived, and that dynamic. And I was like, wow, I need me and Michael. You know what I'm saying? I need me and Michael bad. Because that dude didn't have no problem with his wife being a strong, independent type woman, because she listened to her husband, but he let her do her, and she let him do him, and there was a mutual respect that was just untouchable with those two in the book. And I love that, and that's the kind of marriage that I need, just like that. You understand what I'm saying? That somebody is not intimidated by their wife's ability, and their wife is not intimidated by her husband's ability. They work as a team, and that team is unstoppable, and could you imagine what they are like in heaven? You know what I'm saying? So it was really cool with those books. But I wanted to share with you guys that how my walk came to be, okay? Because honestly, as I told y'all, I was a professional club head. You understand what I'm saying? I was so professional to a certain extent that you all be like, whoa, how you knew a lot of people. You was out there with the bigums, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, Missy Elliott hanging out with the bad of the bad of them, baby, in they vicinity. You understand what I'm saying? So there was a lot going on with me, and for me to be pulled out of that world, as well as in the Gentile world, I was doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? In the positions that I had, and I had some pretty powerful positions in the city of Chicago. You understand? But for me to be pulled up out of that, and now I'm here, it says a lot. And for me to get answers to what was going on with me back then that have stuck in my mind all this time, and finally I get peace. And just, you don't understand how what this walk has meant to me. Okay? Because I'm one of them people that if something gets stuck right here, it's going to stay right here until it gets solved. So I don't know who I'm supposed to be. I don't want to be anybody. I don't know. I can't lead nobody nowhere. Okay? You don't want to follow my ass nowhere. But whatever the Most High has in store for me, I am trying to do. And I think part of this is me being direct as I am. And if you've had a dream where you saw that symbol, you know what I'm saying? Leave a comment at this video. Maybe we can talk. I don't know. But that has happened to me because I am not a people person. Quiet as kept. I am an introvert with extrovert tendencies. That means I am a loner that can hang out with other people, but really don't like hanging out with other people, if you get my drift. I prefer to hang out by myself. I am definitely a loner. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't want to do what you want to do. You know, do what you do. But like I said, I had to share that with you guys to make you understand that if you do read these books, and please read these books, because they speak differently to everybody. They're not gonna be what I got out of it, you may not get out of it. But you may get something totally and completely different, because when I went back to read this book again, it says something different again. So don't trip on these books, because each time you go back, you might find something different. Then you're like, is this book like rewriting itself in front of me? What the hell is going on? Why didn't I notice this last time? I got that yesterday when I read it, a certain part of the little book of John again. Okay? I'm a person that I live in the future a lot. Okay? I live way far in the future a lot because I absolutely hate surprises. I will cut you out if you surprise me. I really, really hate that. So for me to be in these different books like the Asaph, that book, the Asaph book, I'm looking at what's going to happen once all of the drama has happened here on the earth and Mota is here ruling. That's what I'm looking at. I'm already there. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, I want to see how this going to end up and how this situation is going to be. You understand? So that's how I've always been. I've always been a person that goes to the end of the book and reads how it's going to end and then go back and read it. Or get to the middle of the book and read what happens. And I know Mosa hates that about me. Like, you know what? That is not the way you understand what's going on. Because honestly, I did that with these books. And I'm like, still, I thought I understood how this was going to go, and it went totally a whole other way. You understand? So I do that a lot because I'm used to scanning things to get to the bottom of, to get quickly to the bottom of a situation so I can understand what I'm dealing with. But for me, these books have spoken to me different ways, and they will speak to you different ways. So if you do have these books and you are just at home holding on to them, sitting on them, you bought them, and you have not cracked them open, I advise you to start getting to open these books and start to learn, because there may be a message in there for you. It may be something that he wants to do. It may be healing inside of these books for you, because, baby, it was healing in these books for me. Huge healing in them books for me, okay? And at times I got jealous because everybody in the whole book was married, you know what I'm saying? And I've never been one that was big on the marriage thing. Not that I was big on being out here doing any and everything. I just saw how marriages didn't work really well around the different people that were in my family. And I said, you know what? I don't think that's going to be cool. We're going to just be pals forever. So the Most High like, nah, I don't get out with that pals forever shit. You're going to eventually get hitched, my lady. Well, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, and I'm not one out here, just sleeping with anybody either. So I'm really funny about that kind of stuff. So for me, there was a lot of things in here like this don't pertain to me because I ain't with all that getting married shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I also work in the area of law and I see how ugly the shit can be when people separate. So I'm like, if I gotta get married, we're gonna have some prenups going on. We're gonna have all kind of things happening. So I'm already in my mind, preparing for certain things. Most are sitting here like, this one's gonna be something else. But more or less, I'm cool with being by myself and chilling, if you know what I'm saying. But when it comes down to it, yes, read these books. Don't order them and just sit on them and say I got them. Crack these bad boys up and read them because, like I said, they speak to everybody differently. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.